Hello, ladies and gents. Romie Mojo here. Please like, comment, subscribe. I feel like I'm a little far out. There we go. Now, here's the thing. Here is the thing. R. Kelly, in this part 4 of the Surviving R. Kelly series, season 2, part 4, episode 4, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to be jumping around because I'm sorry. I have to discuss the Gayle King interview with him separately, because none of this is a joking matter. And I do actually like how they did it. They showed that, okay, R. Kelly, him losing control, him looking deranged. His lawyer is a trip. What's his name? Greenman? It's Green something. I don't respect him enough to learn his actual name. It's Green something. We're calling it at that. That lawyer is a trip. Now, R. Kelly, when he did the interview, and of course, Gayle was like, Robert. Unfortunately, the internet did what it does, especially Black Twitter, and made a joke out of it, even though it wasn't as serious. And in part 4, they do mention a lot. Like we even saw Angela Yee, even though I keep forgetting how I shouldn't say a lot of people, a lot of women don't really like Angela Yee a whole lot. I'm not here to discuss whys, but I just put that out there. I like the Breakfast Club. I like Angela, but again, I'm a male. Black male, so my perspective is going to be different than a woman, especially a Black woman, just because of society. Understand that. Let's move forward from that. Now, it is annoying though to hear, oh, well, I always thought it was just, so inappropriate or so wrong for people to make such jokes about the situation. And yet some of the same people saying that, we're giggling to no end. And again, that one isn't to Angela Yee because I don't remember her having that reaction. But there were some other people where I'm just thinking, okay, do you want me to scroll through and let's discuss the reel about how you felt about it prior to it not being cool to laugh at it anymore? Yes, we get it. Dave Chappelle, Aziz Ansari, as well as a lot of other comedians. I mean, recently SNL last year did a bit on it. Look, comedy usually comes from real life and it's usually messed up. The funnier it is sometimes because of how more messed up the situation is. Doesn't mean that it's okay in the grand scheme of things, or at least to do a counterbalance, but that is where society has always kind of been. Focus, camera, focus. We are focused here. Now, we swipe from that. I don't really want to discuss the relationship with the girlfriends that are still there because I kind of feel like it's one of those. So let's move backwards. Let's now talk about Geronda and her friendship with Dominique, and how originally when Dominique was brought in, she didn't know Dominique was brought in because she told Robert R. Kelly about her friend. Cool. Not cool. But she didn't know that all three of them were in a situationship because, like what R. Kelly liked to do, he liked to keep all the women separate and not have them interact with each other because there's numbers and power. I mean, there's power in numbers. And so he made sure to stop that mess in his mind. But they were still texting. So when one person was at a house party and the other person wasn't, was talking about the house party, it's like, wait a minute, what? You were where? Who? Huh? And then when Geronda left and Dominique was still there, she felt really bad. Now we fast forward to Dominique's mom, which we saw in season 1, go down and get her daughter. That was amazing. That was a moment. I said, and we were championed for her mother. Now we fast forward to Dominique. We find out that Dominique, when we see pictures of her in the past, her mom made it very clear. She was smiling. She was happy. And her daughter basically is a different person now. She's been through so much. Her daughter lost a lot of weight. And then I'm glad that Dominique finally felt maybe strong enough, comfortable enough to go and say some of the things that she was going through. We do learn that the reason why her hair is short is not necessarily just because R. Kelly possibly had, some. We learned that there is actually a guy in the house. There's some guy that no one knows about. Well, all the women know about, but we don't know about, who was in the house, who was frequently a part of the threesomes and all of that, who I guess probably has whatever R. Kelly has as far as an STI, but let's not deviate from what's important here. Dominique, she was the rebel. And we do remember hearing that in season 1. She was the rebel. And because she was the rebel, if she wanted to eat, she would go and eat. If she wanted to go out, she would go out. Now, of course, she would get punished as a result. This just sounds insane because it is. She would get punished as a result, but for a while, she would still do it. And at one point, there was such a bad fight between her and R. Kelly, and he ripped so much of her hair out that her hair just kept falling out when she would go and try to comb it or style it. As a result, she just left it alone. She cut it low, and he kind of encouraged that look. And that's definitely, hair is such a big part of someone's aesthetic that when it's altered not by choice, very damaging emotionally. And there's some people who don't get that, but there's a lot of other people that do, especially if you're Black. Now, she was saying how she did go back. She went back for multiple reasons. The main reason is she felt bad that she left one of the other girls because they were going in pairs. And so she left one of the other girls there at the hotel, and she was afraid of what was going to happen to the other girl when she left. So when Dominique went back to R. Kelly, she was a little confused. She was a little confused because he didn't seem mad. He was cool about it. And he even was more open to have her go and do stuff at the time. Now, she stayed a little bit longer, and then that changed. Her younger brother, I believe it was, had a graduation, and she wasn't allowed to go. It might have been from middle school to high school, what have you. She wasn't allowed to go. That was kind of a big sign and opener of, okay, this guy hasn't changed, even though he's treating her overall nicer. And there was a lot of heat on him at the time. So the fact that she left and that there was cameras on her, and of course the team knows about that, she was probably someone that he knew he couldn't do too much with, if you're thinking of the psychology of it. And there was something else regarding her that happened and involved R. Kelly, and she wasn't willing to talk about that. I think it was the whole premise of him wanting her to look and act more boy-like or mannish-like, and why. So we didn't get that. We didn't get that. But aside from that, it was just the usual of women being separated, the abuse, and but I always had to keep telling myself, I'm not the one who actually went through this, so I need to, at the bare minimum, soldier on and listen to this. Then there was this other girl who I was side-eyeing, aside from his past workers who kept saying all this stupidness and foolishness that I'm not going to perpetrate here on this video. There was this other girl who kind of seemed like she would still go back if she could. She was with R. Kelly. She was young, but she just seemed a little loosey-goosey. And when I say loosey-goosey, I mean because she came from a abusive or neglectful background, her mindset was messed up. And she acknowledged that, but then it was still that whole premise of, yeah, but, well. And my whole thing was, she kind of sounded like one of the people on social media that was like, well, yeah, this happened, and yeah, he hit me, but it wasn't like that. I'm like, huh? Because she even talked about how they would get into a lot of fights, and she actually downplayed them. She downplayed all the fights, and then there were other people. I think there was also a previous staff member who we got from season 1 who was just giving us more information, saying, "Yeah, that girl, she got beat up, and it was bad. I mean, she was like crying for help at one point." And then you talk to her, and she's just like, well, he treats them differently. And I'm just. The only reason why I feel certain ways because seeing that is scary. Because I know that there's a certain percentage of people who would empathize with her and feel like, well, yeah, that's more so my situation than how people are trying to paint it. With it just being absolutely insane and super abusive and all of that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I cannot. I cannot. Nope. No. I think that's it. Let me double check to see if there's anything else. Yeah, so I think I mentioned it in the part 3 video, but R. Kelly did have a lot of the women go and sign these different documentation and date them, just kind of saying disparaging things so that he could use it against them if they turned on him. Now, Geronda, she was smart in doing that. But then the other thing was, remember the Savages? Ooh, they got ripped apart. They got ripped apart during this whole thing. Just in general, when things started to come out. Their lawyer, I remember this, their lawyer essentially said, hey, if Miss Savage can actually speak to her parents, like you say she can, have her call them up. What's the harm? Really, what's the harm? And I remember that moment. That was, it was all cringy. So that's what we're going to see in parts 5. And then I guess in part 6, whatever else we'll see. So that's it. Please like, comment, subscribe. Again, if you're actually watching this, watching the show, the programming, it comes on tonight at 8 or 9, depending on, I guess, your time zone, or 7, what have you. Please like, comment, subscribe. Come back for parts 5 and 6. Jesus.